I am Vic Iyer here at the CIO Summit with Charles Juba. Charles, so glad to see you.
Thanks for having me.
And you're going to be speaking at the CIO Summit about diversity and inclusion, best practices, that kind of thing. Love to hear a bit more about what you're going to be saying.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. So I will be talking about how at the London Marathon events or at the London Marathon Group, we've incorporated DEI into our core strategy, but really across the DNA of the whole business. We see it as a part of how we do business. So that cuts across our events, our technology, how we use data, how we harness data to improve our customer journeys, and how we engage with communities across the entire DEI spectrum. Talk about some of the lessons learned and our approach to putting that into place.
Really important subject, so look forward to hearing that later. Now, of course, CIOs are involved in cloud transformation, data transformation plans right now, and I'm just wondering, have you got any advice for our community of IT decision makers?
I think the CIO community is very well versed in data and cloud transformation. I think it's about going back to the basics. I think any good cloud transformation starts with a clear understanding of your data maturity. What's the readiness of the organization around data, the quality of that data, the use cases around it. I think the solution is the end of that journey. It starts with that, understanding the maturity. Another great thing to just be cognizant of is about not just the value or the business case for cloud transformation or data transformation, but what does the total cost of ownership look like subsequently? I think all the cloud solutions are great, but they also bring in their own layer of complexity. I think CIOs have to be able to help boards understand that while this is transforming our data and insight capabilities, it comes with its own complexity, and we need to be cognizant of that total cost of ownership down the line.
Thanks, Charles. And of course, I can't have a discussion about technology without referring to AI.
I was waiting for that.
So AI at London Marathon events, I'd love to hear what you're doing with AI. Have you got any predictions for 2025?
So AI, I think, thankfully, we're coming out of that hype phase. I think there was a bit of a gold rush around AI and what it could represent. We're not quite at Star Trek yet across the industry. And with London Marathon, we've been cautious about how we adopt these AI technologies because there's a ethics concern, there's a data privacy and data quality concern. So we've focused it on value-add use cases. How do we automate process? How do we improve customer journeys? I think those are the two cases that we're looking at. So we're looking at some of our customer-facing channels. How do we adopt generative AI to improve customer engagement and resolution of cases? The other areas is how do we adopt AI in very specific value-add use cases to improve and automate process. So with that's in our data processing or in our development processing or even our creative teams. So those are some of the use cases that we start to explore. We're still at the start of that journey, admittedly, but we're starting to see enough value add that we'll continue to invest. As far as predictions, again, I think, look, everybody and his mother had AI in their proposition deck, right? So I think once we come out of that hype phase, businesses will start to really focus on not a wholesale adoption, but really specific value add adoption of AI. So that's within the LLMs that they deploy or the Gen AI chatbots that help automate process. I think that's where we'll start to see companies and organizations focus their efforts. And that will continue to evolve and iterate, right?
Yeah, so it's a fascinating talk.
It is indeed.
But I would also really love to get your take on some research we've been doing, the State of CIO 2024. 85% agree that the CIO is becoming a business change maker. And so we're asking people like yourself, do you agree with that? Is that what you're seeing? And how do you think the role is going to develop as we move forward?
So I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think gone are the days when technology was, the guy in a Metallica shirt in the basement, right? I think technology is part of the business. I think, we have to change our language as CIOs from talking about the business. We are part of the business. And I think CIOs have to adopt the language of the business, but most importantly, understand what is the value. How does the business measure value, right? So is there a unit economics? Is there a customer proposition? Understanding that allows us to be able to leverage technology to meet the business objectives. So I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I think that's going to increase more and more. I think the scope of the CIO is going to expand beyond technology, but look beyond that to what are the other business cases that may be slightly adjacent to technology, but that we can also add value in.
It'll be really interesting to see what happens. Charles, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.